Hey folks, um, Price is Wrong here. I know we just finished the show. I kind of felt like we probably could have covered a little bit more, a little bit better. So I'm just going to go ahead and try knocking some stuff out, and that includes asking an arbiter. All right, I want to try to knocking that out real quick, and I guess let me go ahead and get right into it. Let me start my intro real fast.
Welcome to Battle Vortex.
All right. Well, this is my normal screen here, but I guess what I could probably do just real fast. I actually did this earlier today too, but I'll go ahead and cover it again real quick. I know I just mentioned siege batteries on the show. I definitely think that it's something that everybody has to have. It basically means that your base guard is more important than ever. Because the defenses, hey Darth Davids, the when you look at the details on this particular one, it has turret defense and it does building damage. Okay, what's not listed in here is ships and ship defense. So basically, you're going to need your guard more than ever. Okay, this one right here, it just means that obviously your turrets are going to be 40% less effective, and your building damage is going to be 60%. It's going to be buffed by 60%. So it's pretty significant. So it's making basically the base design even more irrelevant at this point. You want to make sure you get stuff like your outposts behind your base guard, and you need to have a really, really solid guard. The Wendigo, I do think the Wendigo is something that really is a must-have. I think if you have an Enforcer, if you don't have the Enforcer, get it. Yeah, thanks, Darth Davids. If you don't have the Enforcer, get it. Load it up with the Cryo, the D104N, and have one of these Wendigo turrets. Me personally, I only have one Enforcer on my base. I do plan on getting this, and I do want to refit my guard and put the Cryo on there now, just to work with this Wendigo. Just the fact that these two things will work together has got me really excited. And so even if this damage right here is going to be reduced by like 40%, I should still get all of the field of effect stuff. So I'll still get the supercharger. I'll still get all of these debuffs on my enemy, my attacker. Hey, boss man. And so I do plan on getting building an Enforcer and having the Enforcer with Cryo. And let me just check the prize list real quick. I just want to see real fast if the D104N is in here. Oh, there it is right here. 6 million points, D104N. Get that, and then put that on the Enforcer. So that's 10 million points. And then put that with your Wendigo, and there's your base defense right there. As far as the other limited things, hey Nate and Dr. Dirt. As far as the other limited things, Savage Kodiak. Well, I did go over the Destroyer ECM in the show a bit. So it's always been used primarily as a debuff for enemy sonar. Okay, but these days with the thermal, in the days of thermal, this doesn't do anything to help out with the thermal at all. The other, you probably want to consider using some of the other uses. Some of the other uses are the fact that it is a friendly field, and that can be used to activate a resonance battery in your base guard. So if that is an idea that you want to consider doing, hi Bailey DeRoja. If that's an idea you want to consider doing, is going with the resonance battery in your base guard with the Destroyer ECM. Could come in quite handy, and it does have sonar, so it can be good at spotting, enemy subs. And if you put additional sonar on it, obviously that's completely up to you. And you really don't have to have a whole lot of offense on here, because that's, it can't handle so much weight anyway. But if you can actually have this thing as little as 3 tons, 4 tons, so it can take up almost no space at all in your base guard, and just have tons of benefit. So it's just something to think about. The Phantom Nighthawk obviously is got a lot of big pluses with it. I can't think of any negatives. If you don't have the standard Nighthawk, it's available on here for 12.5 million. It's really good partner for the 40 mil. I mean, for the Phantom Nighthawk. The Phantom Nighthawk does it does have a pretty close surface timer with Spectres. They're pretty close. Over time, though, the surface and submersion will begin to vary a bit more and more going on. But if you can get the Nighthawk and pair that up with your Phantom Nighthawk, you can have a 5-boat fleet with 7 weapons a pop. That's 35 torpedoes. They get the speed boost when they go under. Okay, so basically, even though it doesn't stay quite under quite as long as a Spectre can, it actually has a much larger submerged range than a Spectre. Okay, because it can cover a lot more distance, so it's a lot better at subbing out base guards. So the Phantom Nighthawk is definitely a win in my book. And me personally, I went with the Siege Torp Z, which is also a Tier 4 prize on my Nighthawks. It's right here. It's 5 million points. And that's what I have in mind. So I got 35 of those. And for the specials, I used the D2S, which I believe is in here too. Let me look. I know. Oh, that's a Tier 3 prize. That's right. D2S armor is what I used on mine, and to increase the stealth. And I put that off for the special. I used Engine 3, Nautilus Battery 3, and Caterpillar 3, which are all researchable specials. So that's what I used on my Nighthawks, and you'll have my exact Nighthawk build. Hey, Joel. Yeah, with the Mastodon, if you've got something thermal that can spot the Nighthawks, it will definitely, you can kill them pretty quick. So they're not always good in fleet versus fleet. You know, there's just a lot of stuff out there with thermal, especially with the Frosty, the Frostburn Interceptor. It's got that huge thermal range. I think it's like 90. And the Viper, which is also a prize right here, has the thermal range of 80. Okay, so that's got the 80 thermal range. So, you know, those are also be really good at killing the Nighthawks. But the Nighthawks have a lot of other uses, and they are good. I mean, you can leave them out on the map and practically pick your own battles. Nobody can select you when you have the Phantom Nighthawk as a flagship and a subfleet. Okay, the Savage Kodiak is a really nice win, simply because it has the it is a missile hull. It has a lot of missile buffs for as far as the reload. It's got 100% reload. It's got the flak evade built into the hull, so if you have flak evade built into your missiles too, they stack. It does have built-in retargeting, so you don't need add retargeting so you can hit subs. It does have the anti-mortar range buff, which is really good when fighting UAVs. And you're using hailstorms on your base. I mean, on your Savage Kodiak. And you see it's got the building damage buff of 89%, so it's really, really nice. Flagship effect, even if you don't have other, this will give you 50% missile resistance against anything that's in the fleet with it. So it's really nice, especially these days since everybody's using missiles on everything. If you are using it with the missile fleet, it does have a penetrative reload. This will be a prime flagship for Mastodons. You could actually put something on here like some just cut ones with... if you put a cut 1 on there and you had like the solid fuel booster 3, you can get like the 96 range, and then so your Mastodons will really be able to get a really nice reach by using this as a spotter. You can use the strike missiles on there as well, and which I would recommend something with very fast reload where you can really pump in the missiles out, because this does have the random launch override where you get a micro pinch warhead, and the micro pinch warhead, you know, basically it doesn't pinch very long. I think it's only like maybe a second, but you know, the more missiles you got coming out, the more often you're going to see those, and they will save you damage. Okay, the Grimshine is going to be the first thing I'm after, and that's primarily because I currently have one in my base right here as a defense. Okay, is because, and you'll see why. Let me just go over the stats on it real quick. Okay, if you're looking at this blueprint right here, I mean it's a really strong hull all by itself. See, it's got 100% building damage buff, which is great offensively. Defensively, it does nothing. Okay, the thing that does suck about it is the 100% flagship only. I'm sorry, the 150% repair modifier rather. The flagship, it is a flagship only. Every 1,500 armor points of damage that it takes, it causes it to overload, and it overloads every hull in the fleet, whether it be your base guard or your offensive fleet. And it lasts for 9 seconds, and basically it will just do it like a huge burst of fire. It says 300% buff on there, so basically I guess that is like more like quadruples the initial salvos that come out. Good night, son. But it also, during that 9-second overload, 50% damage defense against everything. And it does get a combat speed buff too, which is good for offense. It really doesn't do any good at all in defense. But so I am looking forward to have a second one of these, just so that I can use it offensively. And the build, what I would suggest for this, if you do win this and you want to maximize its use, because it's not really a mortar hull or any other kind of hull. It's just really there to be activated. And so I think if you put something on there, if you wanted to use it in front of your Mastodons, you could. You have to have some kind of weapon on there, whether it be a defense or an offense, but you really want to maximize the armor. Besides that, if you wanted to load it up with countermeasures, you could, but I would at least put one offensive weapon on there, even if it's just a Cutlass 1 with Solid Fuel Booster 3 to maximize your range for your Mastodons. This is a really nice hull to help you get in a lot of different types of bases. Big League Roger, I really don't know if the raid's easier. Actually, if you notice, I got 0 points still, so I've been laying down. I got like a sinus infection or something, man. I'm hurting. So, but I'll try to get around to checking the raid out maybe tomorrow. Hopefully, I feel better. The Highlander new cruiser is not quite as valuable. It serves a very similar function as a Savage Kodiak, where it is a flagship only. But its biggest thing is its flagship effect, where you can get radioactive defense at 50%, and it does have the radioactive reload bonus too. But it doesn't have any kind of like the random launch override effects. So pretty much what you get with this is really primarily the flagship effect. Currently, I have one built with just a single phalanx, and I really just use it for the reload, for radioactive defense is really all I use it for. I do have it currently in my Highlander fleet. I'm sorry, my nuke cruiser fleet. And if you notice, mine, I just mainly put Speed System 3 on it and Guidance Scrambler 3, and I got a single phalanx. That's my Highlander build currently, and I can put it in. It pretty much will fit with any boat. As a matter of fact, its weight is only 130. Okay, and I put it in with my nuke cruisers. Sometimes I'll put it in with my Hell Strikes. Just whenever I feel like I need radioactive defense, I'll slide that boat in there. Let me see other limited prizes. Of course, the Deadeye Destroyer. The Deadeye Executioner is a must-have if you don't have one. Mine actually just finished. And what's great about this is not only its range is exceptional. Okay, it's you see it's 199. So its longest range, basically it will circle. It basically will cover your whole base. Just so you can see, I mean, that's like some serious range right there. And its minimum range is pretty nice too. That's not bad either. But let me just pull that up real quick, because I just noticed something. Okay, well the power it uses is 3654, so it'll just barely fit on a level 4 platform with no specials. You can't really put any kind of, well, I shouldn't say any kind. You can put some specials with it. I think you can put like a pinch 1 on there, which would come in really, really handy. Okay, and you see that takes up to 3690, so I've only got 10 left. But personally, I definitely recommend, taking that up to a level 5 platform when you can. What's great about it is that it does have retargeting, which means this is the only turret available that can hit subs. Now, the napalm missiles and the meteor mortars can damage subs with the fire field effect that they put on the water, and they will shoot and drop that fire on the water when the subs are spotted. And this here will also fire when the subs are spotted. But let me see, what else can I say about it? Um, it does have penetrative defense bypass, 50%. So basically, that just means that it'll go through 50% of your armor. Well, I think that's what it means. Is that it'll go through 50% of your armor. So only half your armor defense, your penetrative defense, will be chopped in half, whatever that is. Okay, and it is 100% accurate against 0 evade targets. And it's recognizable not only because it is bulkier than the other executioners. When you look at it, its physical appearance, you will see the 6 missiles sticking out the front, and when it fires, you'll see 3 salvos instead of 2. Even though it does fire slowly, the reload time on it is only 10 seconds. But as you can see, that can be if you use the fire support tactical field on your buildings, you can get the reload up a little bit more. Right. All right, the Avenger, you know, I don't even think I've built the one that I have yet, to be honest with you. And I know it's kind of like having a rogue crew all the time, because you can use it as a flagship, and it basically will buff. You see, it's primarily it's a missile ship. It's supposed to be a missile hull. It's got the penetrating reload on there, but it also has the mortar reload and the rocket reload and the ballistic reload. It's got all the reloads, so I guess it can be whatever you want. But you know, it's basically flagship effect is called Vengeance, and that basically is it increases the damage, speed, and resistances to your individual hulls in your fleet as they take damage. So if you got one boat that is like taking 20% damage, it's going to get additional more buff than one that only takes 10%, has taken 10% damage. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because basically it just puts the most damaged hull further out in front, and that reduces your firepower once that hull is killed. Even though it makes it stronger and stronger and stronger as it goes, I'm not necessarily sold on the fact of that being a good thing. And the remaining ones you can have 10 each of. Now my Vipers, I currently have 3. I would not mind having a total of 5. I do have one built. It's in my base guard right now. So maybe I should actually consider getting 3 more. That way I can have a full fleet of these. Me personally, if I were to build these are really the most superior, the best interdictor out, because it does have the thermal imaging range of 80, and it has built-in retargeting. It's the only one that has either of those 2 attributes. It is better than an R5 interdictor, and it's also better than the Visago interdictor, in my opinion. Okay, the sonar range is also 80, but you know, and that can be added on to. There's nothing to extend your thermal imaging range even further, but I really don't know, you know, unless you're going to get in a fight with some Harlock Atlas carriers or some Nash's Lightning carriers that's going to have their random launch override UAVs on there. You know, I think these are really primarily good for, like, if somebody's got a Phantom base guard on. They've got a Phantom base guard, you know, on the outside of their base that's in guarding position. I think this right here is what I would use them for. And having a full fleet would come in, be really, really nice. That way there's not like a single boat that they can just isolate and then pick apart the rest of your fleet, you know. So, you know, I like the idea of having one in my base, and I like the idea of having a full fleet of them. So maybe I want to have 6 total. I currently have 3. So maybe I'll see about what I can do about getting 3 more of these. And how I would build it, obviously I'd go with all evade armor. I'd go all evade armor, and for weapons, I would probably try to go with all missiles. I probably would not use any torpedoes of any type. I'd probably just do all missiles. That way I can take a better advantage of that long range, that 80 range, because there's no... I know the Assault Torp Bs, I think their range is like, 77 or something like that. So it's really close to the 80. So maybe Assault Torp Bs if you were going to use any torpedoes at all, but aside from that, I'd probably stick with missiles. And it might not even be a bad idea to do something like some torrent missiles with a solid fuel booster or something like that. And then a speed system. I'd probably go speed system over engines, or missile system, primarily because it is a fleet versus fleet vessel and you need to be able to turn good. Well, what's so cool about Visago interdictors really is the fact that you didn't have to waste a whole lot of uranium to get the attributes buffed, you know, quite honestly, in my opinion. I know there's some other stuff to it too, but I'm not going to go over that just yet. I want to finish covering these. The Harlock Atlas carrier, I think, is a must-have. If you don't have a fleet of these, you're missing out. And I think a fleet of these, I actually have 5. I keep one in my base guard, and I use 4 in a fleet. And I think that's kind of perfect. I would personally stick with nothing but Hornet UAVs on here. I would not put any other type of UAV on. I'd just stick with the Hornet, primarily because of the random launch override. The Hornet has the lowest reload, or the fastest reload, and it's going to spit a lot more of the random launch overrides if you stick with Hornets. And you can get kamikaze UAVs, the marathon UAVs, the pinch UAVs. Excuse me. And you see it does have the UAV damage buff of 60%. This is personally, like I said, I would stick with all Hornets. As far as the rest of the build goes, you really have a different couple of options, and I'll just show you mine real quick. Okay, this is my Harlock fleet. My lowest rank one right now is my evade one. I actually have 1 evade, and I have 3 that are ballistic. Okay, and ballistic defense. Now, by default, these things have like incredible missile defense. Okay, it's 75% missile defense. I'm using 4 ballistic armors, and I'm using the MC3 alloy with speed system. Okay, the MC3 alloy, the speed system, and the Hornet UAVs are the constant. Okay, the ballistic armor, I really wanted to get my ballistic defense up as high as I could. I can get it up to 68%, and I did go with the power cell on here, the UAV power cell. But my evade boat is a little different. That one right there, I opted to get my evade up as high as I could, and I got it up to 66%. I used all D4E armors. Let me see here. Click on that. Yeah, it's all D4E armors, and I used a guidance scrambler. So basically, if I run into a situation where I feel like I need to have high evade, I can just move this particular boat forward, and it's got lower rank, which I don't mind, just because it's easier to identify. I do keep it in, generally keep it in position number 1. And so I can always say number 1 and move it up a little bit, you know, ahead of the other ones if I need a high evade for whatever reason. But because it is generally the one that takes the least amount of damage. I mean, you can tell that just from the rank. So, and I've even got a while to go before it ranks up again. But so that's what I'd recommend for the Harlock. Let's see here, and the Nash's Lightning Carrier. The Nash's Lightning Carrier is similar to the Harlock Atlas Carrier. Okay, the big difference between it and the other, obviously it has a lot less armor points than the Harlock, but it's intended for fleet versus fleet. And it's got fewer UAV slots. I think it's got 5 total UAV slots and 2 standard weapon slots that you cannot put UAVs on. And you see it does have UAV damage buff, and it also has the random launch override. I do have a full fleet of these. Now, I'm kind of in the middle. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead. I don't have them currently loaded, so I apologize for that. That was because we had like, anybody that knows anything about NBK knows that we're not fans of memorials, but we did kind of have a little bit of a joke memorial around Phantom Assassin's base a couple of days ago, so I freed up some of my slots, and just so I can have more boats at a memorial at his base. He just had some Facebook issues he had to deal with. But let me see here. This is I don't want you to look at this particular Nash build because this is my old build. This is my new one. Okay. This is what I plan on going to. Again, because of the random launch override, I think you should stick with all Hornets. I don't think you should mix. Initially, I did because the Dragonflies were brand new, and so I put like 3 Dragonflies on each boat. But I think you should stick with all Hornets, just primarily for the random launch override. The other ones don't have any armor. This is the only one that's got armor, and you see I managed to get D5Es on. And because I primarily use this for fleet versus fleet, I did put an assault disruptor on each one, and I put a phalanx on each one, just in case I had to deal with like a missile just a stray missile here and there. I didn't really build this for fighting other UAVs. These are really good against like most like the Viper interdictor. These are really good against a lot of these surface type fleet versus fleet hulls. The things that you don't want to use this on, you don't want to use this against a Harlock fleet, okay, because they're going to outnumber your UAVs. They're going to have 8 and you're going to have 5, so you're not going to win that fight. And if you're fighting UAVs, my evade armor is not going to do me any good, okay? So the evade won't do any good against other UAVs. And the subs pretty much will eat this thing up too, unless you can get this thing up fast enough, which I don't think you can get this up fast enough to where it can handle most subs. Because most subs you really want to try sitting on them when you're fighting them, because you want to get inside their minimum range so they can't shoot at you at all. And and with like Phantom Night or the Nighthawks period are pretty quick, and you're going to have a really hard time with that. So, obviously against like Mercuries, interdictors, I think even interceptors, these things should chew up. And I think that pretty much covers the limiteds. Okay. Just so you know what I think is good and bad about each one. As far as the tier 4s go, the Kodiaks aren't what the Kodiaks used to be. I mean, I actually have 2 blank hulls right now. My Frostburn is going to be done. If you notice, my shipyard will be done in 4 hours. That's my Frostburn will be completely done. And I do have 2 empty Kodiak hulls that I need to finish, so I'm going to go ahead and get those finished. It's a missile hull. It's mucho better than the MCX. Okay, but most people are using the Mastodons, which the Mastodons sadly are not in here. So I don't know that I would worry about, me personally, I don't see the Kodiak as a have-to-have. I think if you get the option to get a Mastodon at some point, I would go that route. But I guess the Kodiak is good for now. But a lot of people are just sticking with the interceptors. Not the V2C. Let me see if the V2H is in here. It is the V2H. The V2H is the it's like a mini Kodiak, I guess. It's a missile hull. It has a penetrating reload. You see 90%. It's pretty awesome, and it has thermal imaging range, and its retargeting is true. This can be used for killing bases. Okay, there are bases that will fall to this. It has this unique attribute about it called what the heck's it called? Unreactive. That's what it's called. It's an unreactive ability, and basically what that does is that removes the charges applied by any of the launchers that has the well, not just launchers, because the launchers have like the radioactive little slider that fills up, and then you get the boom you get from the cryo. You also get stuff from any things that will slow you down, like the disruptor cannons and such. This thing right here basically will reduce those effects more quickly than a standard hull might. No, I haven't started yet. Mangus. Yeah, I've not started. The Jug-X, we all know about the Jug-X. This thing, last time it came out, was probably like a tier 2 item for like 1,000,000 points. Oh, what happened here? And it was like a tier 2 item for 1,000,000 points, and you see they moved it all the way up to tier 4 and made it 6,000,000 points. Okay, when you retrofit this bad boy, it becomes a beast. It's crap without the retrofits. Unless it's an R5, I just don't think it's really, it never took off in its heyday. Other things that you have to have, let me see here. The V2C is the cryo version of the interceptor. There's the Enforcer, which is the base guard. That is something I definitely recommend everybody has to have. Berserkers are nice. Now the Berserkers by themselves, even though they do overload individually, that it doesn't give them all of the buffs that the Grimshine has. When these guys overload, it's again every 1,500 armor points, but basically it gets the salvo buff, and it gets the all defense damage buff all defense buff rather. But you know, the other buffs like combat speed and stuff, it doesn't really get. So, and these react individually. Okay, so they don't. It's not the whole fleet. It's just this one boat. As it takes damage, it'll do that. So I mean, this is a nice hull by itself. It's not primarily a mortar hull either. But hold on a second. They did add this to the retrofit lab. But let me look at the retrofit lab version of it real quick. Well, here's the Jug X. The Jug X, I never built any yet, but if you get this thing all the way up to R5, it basically gets the evade buff all the way up to 20%, and that's 2 evade buffs because it goes first from -25 to 0, and then again from 0 to 20, and it gets a radioactive defense buff that goes all the way up to 40%, and that's what turns this thing into such a beast, especially with the Enforcer base defense. You know, people having Enforcer guards. These come in really handy. But let me look at the Berserker real fast. The Berserker, okay, so we get ballistic defense, we get explosive defense, we get an evade buff, a small evade buff, we get 2 evade buffs in 4 and 5, and then we get a radioactive defense buff and a building damage buff. So this hull pretty much stays good for everything. You can put launchers on there, you can put mortars on there. A lot of people like the Chaos mortars that came out with that was the weapon that came out when the Grimshine came out and the Berserkers came out, was the Chaos mortars. So a lot of people like the Chaos mortars. A lot of people like launchers. A lot of people, you can put missiles on there. That kind of thing. I think another prize in here that you probably have to have if you don't have it is, well, the cryo launcher would be really good if you're planning on getting the Wendigo turret. Cryo launcher on your Enforcer would be really nice. The Siege Torpedo Z I think is really great on the Nighthawks, but the Siege Missile Z is, the damage on this thing is phenomenal in comparison to any other missile in this game. It is huge. It's designed for the Mastodon, firstly. Okay, that's why it has double the DPS of anything else. Okay, because it's designed for the Mastodon. The Mastodon, when it gets into the remote targeting range, basically the damage is reduced by 60%, and these things still hurt. But so anything you put this on, it's going to just, and it weighs less than a regular siege missile. Regular siege missile is 1,200 tons. This is 1,000 tons, and it does more than double the damage. So this siege missile right here is a must-have, and that's 5.5 million points. And I think with the standard launcher D92U, Inferno rockets are nice. I think the Mercury, I mean, I'm glad it's on sale for $1 million. But you know, some of the other prizes that you can get in here, it's like the MCX is 2.5 million. But if you turn around and you look at a Kodiak, well, that's 12.5 million. So I guess there you're going to kind of get what you pay for. You know, the MCX is nice and it can be retrofitted all the way up to R5, but then you have to worry about collecting all of that uranium. I personally think that you know, if you can get a Kodiak, get it, and if you can't, then maybe get an MCX. But the D2S armor is really nice to have, and it's really cheap to retrofit too. Because there is no D3S, no D4S, there's only D2S. But it's really nice for your subs. And you don't want tons and tons of heavy armor on your subs either, is because their repair modifiers are really huge anyway. They're like 300 and 400%. But see what else. Turret missiles are nice if you can get those. A lot of these specials, or a lot of these things that you can get in here, are also available in the standard campaigns. Agility System 1 is a good grab. I think that's pretty much it, because a lot of these guys, like I said, are available in the standard campaigns. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Now, you guys in the chat, I'm getting ready to cover your chat up. I want to go over the Q&A. I'm sorry, the Ask an Arbiter that we didn't do on the show. I'm going to go over that real quick. Is that cool? All right. The Ask an Arbiter, I'm just going to put right down here on top of the chat. Okay. There was the very top one was, do you think there should be a time limit on open salvo staying on the map? I like the idea of having a time limit on those where they'll blow up, but I really wish the people who are popping them would just pick them the heck up. You know, just clean up after yourself. I mean, really, you know, cleaning up after yourself will benefit not just everybody else, but it'll also benefit yourself. You know, yeah, there are other people that need res, but if you ask one time in comms if anybody needs res, if they don't say, hey, I need some, and then they'll tell you they're going to come pick it up, clean that crap up, man. I won't get mad at you. Let's see. Do you think the VXP should have a makeover? It's just another grind. It is another grind, and I think ranking ships. You know, I don't have the time that a lot of people seem to have. It seems like there's so many players in this game that have so much more money than I do and have so much more time than I do. It blows my brain. It's like, how the heck can you be making all this much more money than I'm making? You know, where you can afford it to spend the money that you spend, and then on top of that have all of this time for ranking fleets. It really does. It blows my mind. I don't get it. But some people seem like they got some stuff worked out. I don't know. And as far as I need a makeover? I don't know. I don't know if they really need a makeover. And I only say that is because getting legendary fleets is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a lot of work. That's why I don't have any. I would like to have some legendary fleets, but you know, obviously there's people who got a lot more time than I do. I know people with several. I mean, like, all their fleets are legendary, and they just work them like crazy. I know I've been wanting to get my nuke cruisers ranked up, but they're the ones I have the hardest time with. It's just they die so freaking fast compared to everything else. Should KIXI ban or limit Frubbling was the next question. Okay, I think, you know, we actually had a roundtable about Frubbling. I know at one point it was a reportable offense. I don't know if it still is. As a matter of fact, let me just shrink this right here, and let me just open this screen up, and I'll go to support, and I'm going to say report suspected cheater, because once upon a time it used to be it's just a suspected cheater. It used to be a reportable offense. You could actually report people for it, but it doesn't look like that's the case anymore. But we know it's not very sporting. You know, if we all did that, it would kill the game, like, instantly. If nobody could hit bases because everybody was like scared to take a hit, and they would, well, that's not even scared to take a hit. I mean, it's like if I don't know. I don't understand it. And you know, Frubbling. I mean, I guess it's all about leaderboards, you know, and so that's the downside. That's the bad leaderboard. Me personally, I think that's the only way to get rid of Frubbling, is to get rid of the leaderboard for alliances. You know, for medals, alliance medals. You know, if somebody from your own alliance hits you, I think, and they take medals from you, I think they should be. I don't think they should get them. I think they should just go away from your alliance. You know, I think nobody should get them. I think you should lose them for Frubbling, for letting somebody take your base, kill your base, and they take your medals. And then I think they should, they should lose. Your alliance should lose those. And even if it's just a 25% 12-hour bubble. So normally in that situation, the attacker would donate medals to the base that they were attacking. But if it's the same alliance, I would like to think that, or I'd like to see the guy give up his 19 medals or whatever, and them not go to the base he's hitting. You know, I think they should just disappear from that alliance. I think they should lose them. Period. And I really think, I mean, that's really the best idea I can come up with. But I know it's something, you know, basically you can just have a secondary alliance do it, give you the Frubbles then. But me personally, the way I deal with Frubbling myself, because I actually had this happen to me, and even though, since I'm not on the show, I'll go ahead and say alliance tags. I'll name and shame. But the Aztec Alliance, they wouldn't hit my base, which I told the guy, great hit. You know, I'm a sporting player. I'm all about the sportsmanship, and no matter how good or bad you do it graciously, okay? But not everybody practices that or feels the same way. I mean, not everybody was taught that growing up like they should have been. So that could be poor parenting, poor coaching, whatever. But anyway, um, rather than as soon as they hit my base and they took some metals, they have somebody standing by their base waiting to hit their base and trouble them. Okay, so when I seen that, I'm like, okay, and they were just doing that left and right. You could tell who was going to go hit a base because they would get a guard. Their base would be bubbled. They'd have a guard, and then you'd see them launch a hitter, and then they'd go off somewhere, and they would pop their bubble, and then there would be another baser from their alliance sitting outside their base, waiting to frubble them. You know, just waiting for the word. I was over there with my Phantom Nighthawks. This is great use for Phantom Nighthawks, by the way. Sinking basers. I probably sunk about 20 basers easily, easily, and some of them like 4 and 5 times. Some of the same ones I sunk like 4 and 5 times, and I really think, you know, that's what the community can do to deal with frubbling. But let's see. The next one was fix the current bugs instead of adding stuff. Well, you know, I had a discussion about this with somebody else. I mean, this is a statement. It's not really a question. But, and I agree with it 100%, okay? But you guys got to remember what drives this game, okay? Right now, it's the big coiners, okay? Probably the top 5% of the coiners are probably represent about 90% of KIXEye's revenue for this game, okay? So those are the ones, that's who is driving this game. These are the guys who are running out of content. So rather than fixing bugs and dealing with bugs and other issues in the game, KIXEye scrambling to come up with new content to feed these guys, so they keep forking over the dough. So really, I do believe the issue with the current bugs still getting here and not being addressed, and the content constantly being pushed into the game, I really 100% believe that it has to do with the big coiners in the game. So, you know, if we can't bring them to our side, you know, the big coiners, I mean, if they're, you know, basically they're playing their game just like we're playing ours, we're being taken for a ride. But it's like, you know, I really do believe that's these big coiners, the ones that are driving the game, are the reason why crap's not getting fixed. Do you think the quality control department in KIXEye needs improving? 100% I do. Heck, freaking yeah. And I'm pretty sure all the other arbiters on the show would say the exact same thing. Definitely the quality control department needs improving. You know, if nothing else, you know, they could use players, you know, on these private servers. They could have players on these private servers that don't work for KIXEye, okay, that aren't basically looking for their next smoke break or whatever the heck is going on over at KIXEye. I really have no idea if they're doing body shots over there. You know, I often hear references to hookers and blow, but you know, whatever's going on, the quality control is not happening, and that needs to be addressed. You know, that needs to be addressed, and it would be really nice to get some of the big coiners on our side that would actually, you know, help us with some of these things. You know, and I think the big coiners have got a lot of power there. We have very little power there, and you know, it's obvious. You know, and I think, you know, it's the big coiners are the ones that if they really wanted to do it, they would do it. But quite honestly, I don't think they're really all that passionate like we are. You know, I think the big coiners, they can afford it to play the way they do. They have fun playing the way they do, and I don't think anything's going to change. And quite honestly, as far as like the quality control and you know, there's a lot of people who have a fun time, I think, looking for glitches in this game. That's probably why they play it, because there's so many glitches. It seems like it's, you know, they're always looking for the next one. Abolish dock repair time. I think that is a great idea, because I think that's like the biggest issue. Well, I used to think that was the biggest issue. I know a lot of people say they don't care about medals, but there's a lot of people that obviously do, and you can look at the leaderboards and see who they are. Or there's the ones that care about metals, but I think so. I don't think dock repair time solely is the. I do think they need to get rid of it. You know, is because it's like when I put my dock on the outside, people will just come and rim me. They won't hit my base. You know, and then with my dock in my base, you can see. Look at my screen right now and see where it is. I mean, you can't avoid it. There's no way you can avoid it. But when I put it on the outside, people like to rim it, you know. It's part of their getting 100%, you know. So there's just no way for me to save the dock. Let me see. A lot of level 30 with all the junk. KIXEYE should investigate. Well, KIXEYE should investigate, but I do think they need to be given a reason to investigate. I know a lot of people like to complain about other players having things, and but they don't actually put in tickets. I know you've lost faith with the system. You just think the whole system is broke, and that KIXEYE don't care about you. But if you're not going to be the squeaky wheel, you're not going to get any oil. You know, I mean, it's just a fact of life. I mean, we're taught that, since we were kids. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. If you're not going to be the squeaky wheel, you're not going to get any oil. Nothing's going to get fixed if you don't complain about it. So if you think somebody is suspicious, put in a ticket. Don't post on a Facebook group page that somebody is suspicious. That just makes you look like you're crying, quite honestly. And let's see here. Repair times for fleets should be 1 hour max, period. Now, how awesome would that be? My game would be so much better. I went and hit some bases last night. I got in one. I didn't get in the other, but that's really because I only have really one good baser. I got my nuke cruisers, but it's like when I didn't design those for hitting bases initially, and I'm trying to get them converted over, but my dock, my shipyard is busy all the time. So I'm always trying to build the next great fleet, so I haven't gotten around to refitting them yet. So really all I got is my Atlas carriers. That's my go-to baser right now is my Atlas carriers. And I gotta say, I used my dreadnoughts on a base. I had a 4-boat fleet. I think it's actually, I don't know if it's okay. It's not repairing. I don't have repairing, but I use this one right here. This fleet right here, when it was completely dead, was 16 hours. That's stupid silly. Stupid silly. It's like, who the heck can afford to play a game like that? Every time you hit a base, it's like $1.50, $2. It's insane. It blows me away that how far out of hand that the repair times have gotten in this game. The top turrets in the base. Well, right now we have the limited ones. Okay, as far as the limited ones, obviously we have the Deadeye Executioner, and now we're going to have the Wendigo. Those are limited. You can only have one of each. The Deadeye, obviously, it's got the reload, it's got the armor bypass, and it's got the huge range. It is definitely, if you can get that blueprint, get it. The Wendigo turret is going to be another one. If you have cryo launchers in your base guard, the Wendigo will work with them. Okay, the damages will stack. You're not going to see 2 bars. You'll see 1 bar, and in theory, that's what we're told anyway, right? So let's see if that actually happens in the next week. We'll know. I don't know what the build time is on that yet. But as far as standard turrets go, right now I think the Napalm is really awesome, and I think the Gargoyle is really awesome. I think the Gargoyle, if you have a couple of those in your base to help with the subs, you obviously got to have something that will spot, because the Gargoyles will not spot subs by themselves, even though they can kill them pretty quickly. And the Napalm missiles. The Napalm missiles are great because they're great because if you compare them up with the special, I got fire support platform on this one. You can get really good range with it. Let me see. It doesn't tell me what my range is on here, does it? Well, that kind of sucks. But the range on this is 84, and then if you pair that with the 25 or 20, an additional 20%, I believe that should be another 16. Basically, it's getting it up to about 100. The range will be about 100, which that will pretty much outrange. There won't be such thing as a baser coming and prepping out a turret, one of these, without taking some damage. This is going to make sure that whatever is shooting at it's going to take some damage. So I definitely say the Napalm. And the Gargoyle, really, because its damage is so excessive that the damage that it puts out there is so huge that nobody's going to just drive by it. would be like the worst mistake anybody could make in your base, is getting in range of this particular turret. Okay, and it happens. It happens a lot. Me personally, I'd recommend, if you do go with the gargoyle, that you do get you a platform 5. You see right here, I can actually do pretty good with the armor on there. I plan on doing this at some point, 3968, but for me to put the depleted uranium 1 on there, I need to get my platform up to level 5. Right now it's still a 4. So, but that's what I recommend. Gargoyle on the level 5, you can put your lead panel 3 on there and a depleted uranium 1 armor, and you're going to have yourself a really solid turret. And the napalm, like I said, now right now you see my power is like, I'm not using hardly any power on here at all. And if I wanted to, I could go all the way out and just go with the depleted uranium 3 on there and still have room. But you know, in any turrets you put up in the front, any turrets you put up in the front of up by your entrance have the potential of being prepped out. So having them, you know, it'll take them longer to get prepped. But you know, it might not be the same fleet that comes in to kill your base. So I think all that damage is potentially wasted. So I don't know that I would actually put any armor on them if you're going to put your napalms in the front of your base. Now, if you put napalms towards the back of your base, then I could see putting armor on them. But if it's going to be towards the back of your channel, but if you're going to put it in the front of your channel, I wouldn't put any armor on it. I'd say like your first 4 turrets, don't put any armor on, because it might not be the same fleet, like I said, that's going to come in and kill your base. It could be a completely different fleet. Removal of attack option on a fellow ally member. That's not a bad option, but there's reasons to be able to attack, right? Because a lot of people will just share resources that way. So you can actually get warehouses off your alliance members, which can come in handy. If they can't attack you, you can't even share resources. So people will be very unhappy, you know, about that. And if it's just to deal with Frubbles, you know, you could have a secondary alliance, you know, that you're, you know, a co-alliance or whatever, you know, or somebody who's without a tag, you know, hit your base for Frubbles. So I don't know that that's really a good solution. And the dry dock refit thing has been just beat to death over the past for years, you know. I really don't know what to say about that. I think at the very least they could get rid of the double jeopardy. And that, what I mean by that is when you're doing a refit and you go to take a weapon or a special off, that takes time. And then so it takes time to put on and it takes time to take off. So you can coin it on and you can coin it off, but you can't just take anything off for free. And I think that's bullcrap. I don't think you know, especially since you don't get to keep it. You know, if you were to get to store that particular special or that weapon in some kind of a building in your base, some kind of one of the lab buildings, or you know, some kind of storage structure, you don't get to save it. I think it's double jeopardy, and I you know, I think that's one of the things they could do to improve this game, is either get rid of it or allow us to store the stuff. That way, it's benefiting us somehow. Not everything has to benefit KIXEye's pocketbook. Some things should be. Yeah, I guess, you know, they could make the game even more expensive, but I don't know if they did. I don't know how people would continue playing, but I don't know. Let me see. Any chance KIXEye to stop using Flash and use another game platform? No way. No. With this game being as old as it is, it's what, 3.5 years old, coming up on 4 years old. There's no way they're going to put it on Unity or any other platform. It's Flash. If they ever come out with a sequel, then maybe that could be on another platform, but I just don't see it happening. But they're kind of running this brand into the ground, aren't they, Battle Pirates? I mean, I think they really are. I know everybody I've ever known so far that's gotten the option to fill out that survey is, they were asked if they would recommend this to another player, has said no. So I think this particular brand, just the Battle Pirates brand, is being ran into the ground. That's my personal opinion. So I don't see any sequels coming out for this game because nobody would recommend it. And me personally, I think I would avoid it myself. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why I still play, and I really think it's just the investment that I've made to be where I am in the game. And granted, I'm nowhere near the top anymore. I used to be pretty up there. I used to be a pretty strong player, but I'm not anymore, just because I can't afford to be. Yeah, I mean, as far as making it easier to engage fleets on the move, I mean, I think that would, I don't know. So this game is, they would have to do a lot more to this game, because right now, I mean, I've been snagged before being on the move, but it was blamed on lag. And of course, whenever they blame lag, they blame the user and the user's connection. They never blame the server, but or their connection. So I don't see that ever happening, just because what they have right now is kind of not really all that stable. And of course, somebody had to say bacon, so maybe that's where it should be the rule. I'm going to stop at bacon. But the next one actually says, should we be able to choose for weekly Forsaken mission prizes? And that's actually up for vote right now. Personally, I don't understand what the problem is, why they ever have to phase anything out, why they can't always keep everything in. I don't understand the problem. But I know there was a quality assurance. I'm sorry, not a quality assurance. There was a Q&A on the forums. I need to go back and read that whole thing, but it was a lot. It was a lot to read. But I think that may have came up on there. So, but anyway, that is the Ask an Arbiter. Yeah, you can buy rank. That is correct. Let me just go back and look at the chat here real quick. I apologize. Yeah, I would like a Kraken. I have 6 million points. Good job. Yeah, Enforcers, Berserker, the limited nuke cruiser, a limited Berserker, and the new turret. Yeah, those will all be awesome grabs. Zerks won't work well in bases, but not in missions. So do not do a ballistic fleet of Berserkers. You're speaking from experience here, Dr. Dirt. Let me see. A must-have is for subs. You can buy rank. That's true. Why would big coiners want to play a buggy game? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think some of the big coiners, man, they have a lot of fun, man. They have a lot of fun playing this game. I mean, the bugs are there for them too, and they'll complain just like we do, but they have enough fun for them. The bugs are worth it. They don't have any problem dealing with the bugs, because they have so much fun playing this game. They'll spend what I used to spend in a month, they'll spend in a day. Deadeye not going to as good with the new special. Okay, the Deadeye. Okay, you're saying that the Deadeye is not going to be as good with the new special. Well, that new special, like I said on the show tonight, the Siege Battery 3. This one right here, it just, like I said, it 40% turret defense. So yeah, it's not going to be as good, because this isn't penetrative defense. If it was, then it wouldn't be as effective against the Deadeye. But so 40% turret defense, 60% building defense. This, like I said, you put this on your fleet, then the guard is going to be a much more important. The base is going to be even less help than it is already. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. The question was for torpedo turrets in the base. What are the top turrets? Oh, you're talking about in the Q&A? Let's see, did I already kill it? Oh, you're right. Torp turrets in the base. Okay, my bad. I see that on there now. The I don't know. It could be cool, but quite honestly, I think anywhere that it might be effective, it's probable. So, it's not like they're going to give us the crazy range that they give the Drax. The Drax have that crazy range, So I don't know. I don't know that I really see that coming, but who knows? I mean, you can always add it to the wish list on the forums. And but I think I pretty much covered all the extra stuff that I wanted to cover. I know I did do another stream earlier where I was talking about the various targets. I did peak in Elite. I don't know that I'm going to try any elites. I may stick with just the siege. Um, maybe I don't know if I'm going to do any water targets at all this time. I might just grind it out and do siege. I hate I hate the grind. Usually I like being able to mix it up and do. It would have been nice to have options for everything, but it's like they seem to like to kill that kind of stuff. You know, they want it to be a grind for whatever reason and boring, and they get you to make mistakes. But it is nice, I guess, that you do have a Reaver target on the map now. It is nice that you do have a still have the Kraken target on the map, and then you have all the other Arctic fleets. You have 2 different campaigns that you can try. But I hate the idea of just picking one, and you know, I'd like to mix it up a little bit myself, but it's all good. We'll figure it out. What I'm going to go for, though, just so everybody knows, let me get this thing off my screen. I'm definitely going to get the Wendigo, 25 million. I'm definitely going to get the Siege Battery for 4. I'm going to get the Siege Battery 2 is 3 million, and the Siege Battery 1 is 550,000. I'm definitely going to get all the siege batteries. I'm a collector. I'm not going to use them all, obviously. But these here will come in really handy against PvE. So if you're going to do drac bases, these will be really nice to have. Or the military strongholds, these will be really nice to have. Just be for that 40% defense against all the turrets would be really nice. There's not any, you see, if you notice, I actually have all of the other hulls that are in here. So I don't really have anything else to grab from tier 4 or tier 3 or 2 or 1. From the limiteds, though, I've already got the Destroyer, I already got the Phantom, so I can't get any of those. I'm definitely going to go for the Grimshine, which is 25 million. So that's what, 54 million that I'm going to get. And you know, I don't know if I've got it in me, but I wouldn't mind getting, like I said, 3 more Vipers and get them built one day. I would really like to do that, build some Vipers and get them built. Savage Kodiak, I wouldn't mind having a second one of those. I can see that where it could come in handy, and as well as a Highlander. I mean, it's just quite honestly, I've got one that I've already used for offense, and I don't know. You know, if ever I decide to switch my defense up in my base, the Highlander would be good for adding the radioactive resistance to my base, and a Savage would be good for adding penetrative resistance to my base guard. So, you know, they would really just be on standby if I want them. I probably would not be building them right away. They'd just be on standby, because really I've got things that I would use right away. You know, I would definitely build the Grimshine right away. I'd load that sucker up with armor. And if I got those Vipers, I'd probably do those immediately thereafter. You know, right now my current plan, what I'm currently working on, is my Frostburn. It's right here. So when my Frostburn's done, I got like 2 empty Kodiak hulls that I'm probably going to try to work on. Let me see here. So I got, these guys are both empty. See, I just got a Siege Missile Z on them, each one. So I'll probably want to finish those up and get me a couple Mastodons built. But after that, I'd be happy to go to work on a Viper. But if I did win the Grimshine, I would be building that like right away. I would interrupt this plan to build that Grimshine. And I think that's pretty much it. What's the deal with the Destroyer? What do you mean, Dr. Dirt? What Destroyer? Was that a prize? Oh, you're talking about the ECM? Destroyer ECM? I don't know. Did you watch the show at all? I did cover the Destroyer ECM on the show, and I also did it on the stream. Was there any particular thing that you wanted to know about the Destroyer? I don't know if it's worth 60 million points, but I would not call it useless. You know, it's got a really large field of effect. As a matter of fact, see, I've got mine right here. Maybe I can just to show you what the field of effect is. Let's just replace fleets real quick. Oh, that's not going to show you. All right, so let me put my base card back in. All right, and then I'll go back in there and but yeah, it's not useless. Its primary purpose has been for the longest time to debuff enemy sonar. That's been its primary purpose for a long, long time. Okay, and I'm going to go down here near the 71. Just so you can see what it looks like. All right, look how big that circle is, that range. You could fit your whole base guard in here easily. You know, if this was in your base, and it would activate, if you had the resonance battery in your base, it would activate it. So again, I really see this as more of a defense thing, not really quite so good offensively anymore. Now, right now, these boats are moving forward only because they see my ECM, not because they see my subs, because believe me, they do not see my subs. But that range, that's a friendly field. And it's weird that it would be considered friendly if it's a debuff on enemy sonar, you know. Um, so it's a debuff on enemy sonar, but it's considered a friendly field. And but this would activate, and you could tell it's friendly because you see the arrows sliding up on my subs. That means it's a friendly field. And it just basically increases the cloak. It says in the description that it debuffs enemy sonar, but it actually buffs your cloak. But that's pretty much what it's good for, is just, you know, it'd be good for activating your resonance battery. And I mean, there still will probably be times, like if you're prepping out turrets and drag bases, or the torpedo turrets, the platforms, or torpedo towers and the drag bases, you can use that ECM to help you prep those out if you wanted to, or in the strongholds. You could prep them all out if you wanted to. Of course, if you're playing one of those guys that are like me and use decoys, you want those things to stay in there as long as possible, because they see your subs, and that basically keeps the rest of your fleet from taking damage because everything's shooting at your decoy sub. So you don't always want to do that. But that's what the ECM is. So it doesn't completely suck. I don't know if, like I said, I don't really know that it's worth 60 million points, but and it doesn't say what that field is, but the field is huge. I mean, it's a monster-friendly field. So it would be, and it has sonar built into it. It's got a sonar of 60, and so, you know, it'd be good at detecting subs as well. Mine, I do use mine that way. When you look at my build, you'll see I have that P armor on, which is basically that increases your sonar range, and then I just put a couple of, you know, a hailstorm and a phalanx on there. And the weight on mine is weight. It's 582 tons. And I think it's, it doesn't say what its max weight is. No, I don't. Honestly, I don't think it's worth 60 million. Because it's just another one of those things that you may or may not be able to use, you know. I mean, it's, the ECM, I definitely do not think it's worth 60 million, but it's something that people have been screaming about for a really long time. They wanted to have access to it. And now it's here. So it's like, now if you wanted it that bad, and a lot of people wanted it really bad for a really long time, I think that's why they put a $60 million, I'm sorry, 60 million point price tag on it. Let me see, it might be worth 30 million. Yeah, I can agree with that. 30 million, but not 60. I don't even know if it's worth 30, but when you compare it to some of these other things, I mean, it's like they did put 35 million on the Savage Kodiak, so maybe 30 million might be a fair price. You wouldn't get it if it was going for 10 million. Yeah, well, like I said, it's a very, very specific use. So, and it's probably primarily in here for collectors. It's never been available since, I had won it when it came out last time, which is well over a year ago, and it was only the top 3,000 players got it. And I don't know how many of those top 3,000 players are still playing, but it's been like a year. So yeah, the price, what it's going to cost you to get 60 million is going to be pretty insane. But a lot of people didn't go for it because it was top 3,000. They figured it was a coin fest, and I don't think a lot of people originally saw the value in it, which at the time it had a lot of value. I mean, it was really good for a long time. Is because when KIXEYE was coming out with the super sonar, uh, and all of the targets, this destroyer ECM still came in really handy, and but they ended up getting rid of the super sonar and replacing it with thermal, so that kind of killed the destroyer as far as the anti-sonar use. Hey Bear. Yep, I'm here. I am here. Make sure you click on follow, and you should get notifications. If you want to get notifications on your phone, all you need is the Twitch app installed. If you have the Twitch TV app installed on your phone, your smartphone, or your tablet, you should get a notification when I go live as well. Otherwise, if you just click follow, it's going to send you an email when I'm live. But yeah, definitely click follow here. Probably right after the show, I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to upload it to YouTube as well. So it'll be there, and I'm just make sure people realize that the Ask an Arbiter was done on here. And I do see I got a lot of viewers. I currently have like 21 viewers. So thanks everybody for watching. I know we can't do shout outs on YouTube anymore, but I can do shout outs on here. So if you're signed in and you're watching, you can ask questions on here while I'm still here. So maybe while I'm doing shout outs, you can just go ahead and type your question. And as soon as this is over, as soon as I'm done with the shout outs, I'll go ahead and I'll either respond to your question or I'm probably going to end up closing the stream. But question mark, A-Bear, Dr. Dirt 81, Darth Davids, Kilted Pirate, Nate 1749, Dreadmall X, Z-Dog 40, Bailey DeRosia 1998, Howling Wolf UA, Associated, Zevion 1212. I bet Associated thought I was going to mess his name up, but I didn't. But Zevion 1212, Kevin 193030, and Kimmy 6740. Hey Kimmy. Yeah, as far as there is one limited item, not a hull, that has a retrofit, and that is the Deadeye. The Deadeye destroyer does have a retrofit, and I'll show you. It's the only one, and I don't know if they're ever going to do retrofits for limited hulls, but when you look at this one right here, the Deadeye does have an option. You can basically buff the damage for that, if you're interested. But I'm nowhere near that. Actually, I'm holding off on my, I do got like 23,000 uranium currently, and my lab's not busy. Really, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do for 20,000 uranium, but I do plan on upgrading one of my turrets, starting it, and that takes 12,000 uranium. So I'll be using my uranium for that. But anyway, prices. Yeah, maybe if I read your name and I get your name right, you get to drink, because maybe that will encourage some people to try to mess me up. I'm good at reading. If you guys notice from the show, I usually do most of my contribution to the show is the forums, and I really don't do anything on the forums. I hate the forums, but I will go there for information that Robot passes out, so I'll look for official information. Battle Vortex does not support unofficial information. We like to have, we don't like to provide incorrect answers where we can. We like to provide correct answers. And one thing that I know about early reporting and reporting unofficial information is that that information tends to linger, and people seem to forget that it was unofficial, and then they start complaining. I mean, not like we need anything else to complain about in this game, but that's one of my contributions is reading the forums, and then of course I'm also good at math, and not as good at math as I used to be. It's like I know a lot of people call it KIXEYE math, but KIXEYE has a way of doing their numbers and in different scenarios, to make the game. Basically, they're not trying to look for. They're trying to cover their bases as far as a win all. They don't want anybody able to get zero damage on anything, so they got fail safes, and some of that fail safe has to do with the way they do math. So, but anyway, I guess if that is it, I'm probably going to go ahead and sign off, guys. I do appreciate everybody coming on. I see I got 20 viewers. I know I've been on for a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. And I know after we post the show, maybe I'll put this in the comments or something of that nature so people can get an idea of the rest. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you click the follow button here on Twitch, and you'll get your notifications on your smart phone or tablet, and as long as you have a Twitch app. And you'll also get an email. So if you get the email, some people have that, get notified on that on their smartphones too. So it's another way. And then on my YouTube, there's two ways to get to my YouTube. I mean, it is youtube.com/X PRICEisWRONG, or you can just do price.battlevortex.tv. Either one will take you to my YouTube page, and this will be on there later. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it is for me. I mean, I really love doing the show. This game, KIXEYE, you gotta love. I love them and I hate them. Quite honestly, I love them and I hate them. And I've never had another gaming company use me as much as KIXEYE has. And it's really nice to be recognized. And it's really nice to be recognized. And I actually do have quite a bit of direct interaction with KIXEYE, and I love that. And it's just not something that I want to throw away by quitting the game. And then of course, I think I've kind of came to terms with the amount of money that I spent in this game already. It's not. I'm nowhere near as, especially when I know how much some other people are invested financially. I mean, people with tens of thousands of dollars, to me, is insane. I mean, because we're talking cars, man, cars. And even house payments, man. People, is what the amount of money some people spend. I'm nowhere near as invested as they are. And to them it's nothing. Which great for them. So I'm definitely not a hater. Kudos. I'm glad you are where you are. I wish I was there. But it's just I have been able to, because of my access that I've been given. I've actually got recognition even outside of KIXEYE now, and so I've got other people giving me games that are generally like pay games or whatever, to put on my Twitch stream. There was actually another player here. There's another player here that's on the Battle Vortex page that's offered to buy me a game if I would stream it. I thought that was kind of funny. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And but if you watch my Twitch, if you subscribe to my Twitch, you'll see some of the other games that I play. I do have games that I play on my iPad as well that I also stream. I did some streaming here even from I got a Parrot AR drone I bought myself for Christmas, and I did some streaming on that. I can't do any streaming outside. I can only do indoor stuff, but I'm probably never going to do that again. But the outdoor stuff didn't work at all, so anyway. Well, folks, y'all, thanks for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and run my outro, and y'all take care, and good luck in the raid.
The price is wrong, bitch.